Picture this: a marketing professional earning $62,000, an IT specialist earning $71,000. Combined household income, $133,000. That puts them in the top 25% of American earners. They should be doing great. Instead, they're stressed, living paycheck to paycheck, maybe 2 months of savings if they're lucky. When their car's transmission failed last month, it went straight on a credit card. They work constantly, barely see each other, and despite doing everything society told them to do, they feel like they're drowning financially. If that sounds familiar, you're not bad with money, and you're not alone. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly where the second income actually goes, why it often makes families less secure, not more, and what to do instead. Welcome to the Quiet Rich Club. Today we're exposing one of the most destructive financial traps in modern America. The promise that failed. Here's what we were told. 2 incomes equal twice the financial security. Simple math. If one person earning $50,000 could support a family 50 years ago, then 2 people earning $50,000 today should support that family and build wealth on top of it. Basic addition. Except that's not what happened. What actually occurred was one of the largest financial bait and switches in American history, and almost nobody talks about it. The phenomenon even has a name: the 2-income trap. A Harvard bankruptcy law professor studied thousands of middle-class families who had gone bankrupt and discovered something shocking. Dual-income households weren't more financially secure than single-income families. They were more vulnerable, more likely to collapse, not less. That isn't personal failure. That's systemic entrapment. And to understand why, we need to do something most conversations skip. We need to do the math. Where the second income really goes. Let's take a very normal example. One partner earns $70,000. The other earns $50,000. Combined income, $120,000. Solid. Comfortable. On paper. Now let's isolate the second income, the $50,000, and follow it. First, taxes. Because of progressive tax brackets, the second income doesn't get taxed like a standalone salary. It gets stacked on top of the first. Between federal, state, and payroll taxes, that $50,000 often loses 30 to 35% immediately. So your $50,000 becomes roughly $32,000 to $35,000 in take-home pay. Now add childcare. If you have children, daycare alone averages around $15,000 per child per year. 2 kids? That's $30,000. Before you've even left the house, that second income has nearly disappeared. Now add commuting. 2 working adults usually means 2 commutes, more gas, more maintenance, more depreciation. If a second car is required, and often it is, that includes a payment, insurance, and registration. Conservatively, that's another $8,000 per year. At this point, your $50,000 second income is already negative. But it doesn't stop there. 2 exhausted working parents have less time and energy for domestic labor. Cooking, cleaning, home maintenance, tasks that used to be handled with time, now get outsourced with money. Prepared meals, delivery, takeout, house cleaners, lawn services. These exhaustion expenses easily add $5,000 to $10,000 per year. So let's tally it up. $50,000 income, minus $18,000 in taxes, minus $15,000 for one child's daycare, minus $8,000 for commuting, minus $7,000 in exhaustion spending. You're left with $2,000. That's not a typo. Someone works full-time, misses family dinners, sits in traffic, burns out, and the household nets about $2,000 for the year. That's roughly $1 an hour. And yet, psychologically, it feels like prosperity because the gross number looks big. How the trap snaps shut. Here's where the real danger begins. Because you see that $120,000 combined income, you build your life around it. You buy a house both incomes can qualify for. You take car payments both incomes can support. Banks approve mortgages assuming both incomes will flow forever, as long as no one gets sick, laid off, burned out, needs to care for aging parents. or faces any of the dozens of real-life disruptions humans inevitably encounter. This is the trap. Single-income families of the past had something most dual-income households no longer have: margin. If the primary earner lost their job, the stay-at-home partner could enter the workforce. It wasn't ideal, but it was a backup plan. Modern dual-income families already use that card. Both incomes are fully committed to fixed expenses. There is no reserve income, no flexibility, no shock absorber. So when disruption hits, everything breaks at once. Like an engine running without oil. That's why those bankruptcy studies found dual-income households more likely to collapse. Not because they were irresponsible, but because they were operating at full capacity with no room for error. How we got here. To understand why this became normal, we have to look backward briefly. In 1970, most middle-class households ran on one primary income. That income didn't just scrape by, it covered housing, healthcare, transportation, food, and still left room for savings and emergencies. Homes were affordable relative to income. Good public schools weren't locked behind massive mortgages. Healthcare costs were manageable. Childcare wasn't a major line item because someone was home. Most importantly, families had financial breathing room. As dual-income households became standard, something subtle but powerful happened. Families didn't suddenly live better. Instead, they began bidding against each other. Two incomes competing for the same houses drove prices up. Two incomes competing for good school districts drove property values higher. Eventually, what one income used to buy now required two. The second income didn't create wealth. It just raised the price of admission. The way out, the one income foundation. Now, at this point, some people think, that's nice in theory, but we need both incomes. Exactly. That's how you know you're in the trap. The alternative isn't quitting tomorrow, it's changing how you structure your life. I call it the one income foundation. You design your fixed, non-negotiable expenses, housing, cars, debt, so they can be covered by one income alone. The second income becomes optional, not required for survival, not baked into your mortgage, optional. That second income then goes toward emergency savings, debt elimination, retirement, and investment accounts. Every dollar saved or invested buys back optionality. It gives you choices, time, flexibility. Yes, it requires short-term restraint, smaller house, fewer upgrades, ignoring social pressure. But within 5 to 10 years, something remarkable happens. Your money starts working harder than you do. Your stress drops. And the financial security you thought two incomes would give you finally becomes real. The real takeaway: the two-income trap isn't really about income. It's about flexibility. Our grandparents weren't wealthier because they earned more. They were wealthier because they had margin. We traded that margin for bigger houses, nicer cars, and the appearance of success. But appearances aren't wealth. Cash flow isn't security. And two incomes aren't better than one if both are already spent before they arrive. The families who thrive financially today aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who refuse to let their expenses grow faster than their freedom. Now you see the trap. And here's the important part. Understanding it already puts you ahead of most people. This channel is for those who want real financial security, not through hype or shortcuts, but through clarity, margin, and long-term thinking. We'll break down how to rebuild flexibility, structure expenses so money stops feeling fragile, and make decisions that actually hold up when life doesn't go according to plan. If that's the kind of relationship you want with money, subscribe. And if this video hit close to home, leave a comment. You're far from alone.